Hey everyone, it's Nichol Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a couple of fun new cards to share with you using the Simon Says Stamp July 2022 card kit called You Shine. We're going to be pairing pattern paper with stamped and colored die cut images. This is one of my favorite ways to create a card. Everything you see on these cards, with the exception of one teeny tiny sentiment, comes from the kit. This is a beautiful kit this month and I'm super excited to share this with you. So I have kind of laid out some of the Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Lemon Twist 6x8 pattern papers that are included in the kit, along with the Holtz Idea-ology window frames baseboards and some of the stamped images from the You Shine Simon Says Stamp 6x8 clear stamp set. And that just gives me an idea where I want to go with my cards. One is going to be more lemon themed and one is going to be more florals and butterflies. I'm stamping my images on some of the Solar White Smooth White cardstock included in the kit using Hero Art's INTENS-IFIED black ink. Then we're going to color in our images with Copic markers. The colors of Copic markers I'm using are listed in the description box below the video here on YouTube, as well as over on my blog. I am trying to put the caps of my markers up on the screen as well as I'm coloring so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I started lighter with my full lemon, and then I will add some darker color to it. I really was inspired by the pattern paper included in the kit and tried to replicate that look. So I'm using a really dark color there to add some nice shadowing, which normally wouldn't look fantastic, I don't think, but just keep blending and working, and I absolutely love how this turned out. I'm going to kind of keep working on my lemon, being careful not to oversaturate it. I don't want it to bleed outside of the line. So let's move on to the leaves here on the lemon. My plan for my cards today, I really love the buffalo check pattern papers in the kit. And originally I thought I'm going to use the black and white check for sure. And I thought I might use the aqua or the teal and white buffalo check, but I think we're going to stick with just the black and white buffalo check for our two cards, and then use a couple of the other patterns as a nice contrast. And then the Holtz Idea-ology window frames are amazing. You get the entire package of them. I'm using 2 on my cards today, as well as I'll be sharing other ideas a little bit later this month. I used lots of colors of yellows for my lemon, and then to give my lemon some texture, I'm going back over it once my blending is done with my marker, adding some little dots to give that texture of a lemon. I also made sure not to overblend the leaves. I want them to have plenty of veining texture. Now for the half lemon here that's been cut in half, I actually started a little too dark, which is something I don't do very often, but I did. So I didn't want to restamp this, and I am going to work pretty hard on trying to fix what, I hate to say the word mistake, there's no mistakes, but something I didn't particularly love. Maybe that's how I should put it. And so I actually went over it with a colorless blender, trying to move that ink out, which worked a little bit, and that's going to be like the outer ring. You're going to watch here as I take the colorless blender, and I'm just kind of, you can see how it lightens it because it's pushing and moving that ink. You have to be kind of careful. It can bleed outside the lines. I think maybe it did even in a spot or two, although it wasn't super bad. But I don't really love that either. So I just kind of kept playing with it. Don't be afraid to persevere. Sometimes it's easier to just go ahead and stamp another one, but ultimately I actually liked how it turned out. And so I'm really glad that I just kind of stuck with it. I am letting it dry a little bit as I am coloring in the leaves on this image. And then I will go back. I actually pulled a different marker, the yellow red 30. And I'm going to use that to color in this area as well. Now it does have a lot of colorless blender in it, but because it has a little red, I do think that it just kind of helped tone down the kind of neon color we had going on there. It may not look like it now, but once we get the two lemons together on the black background, it looks fantastic. Let's color our flower box image. There is a fun fact about this, this stamp set and this image. Neenah designed the flower box stamp set here, or stamped image, pardon me, from the stamp set to work with the Tim Holtz baseboards, which you'll see. I'm going to take one of the window baseboards and I'm popping the flower box at the bottom. I love that about this. So super amazing. The lemons in this image, I'm going to color first. Same colors as before, just a little bit less shading. They're a little bit smaller, but I definitely want to replicate that look of the full lemon above. Same color for the leaves. Any of the small leaves are going to be colored with our G21 and G28. And then the bigger leaves, we're going to dive into a different color combination for a little variety. Now, I don't want to go too crazy here with the colors. You could color these anything you want. But because I'm pairing them with the pattern papers from the kit, and this is a very, the colors are like blacks and yellows and teals, I want to kind of stick with that color theme because I'm pairing it with a pattern paper that has that in it. So I am going to go ahead and use some blue-green markers to color in my flowers and really kind of stick with that color theme. And the same thing for the butterflies. They're going to be yellow and teal as well. And again, any color I'm using will be listed in the description box below for easy reference. And I kept kind of building up the color. I started with my lightest color and then I'm just going to build up with darker and darker blue-green colors. Being careful, I don't want to overblend too much. I want lots of texture on the flower petals. I forgot to put some little dots on my lemon, so I'm going to go back and do that. I really like this flower box image. Here is my other color combination. My base color is yellow-green 25, and I started blending out with yellow-green 17, and I didn't love that. So we're going to move on to yellow-green 6-7, and I will go in even with a little G28 to add in a darker color for a little bit more contrast, I guess, or a little bit more definition of the veining of the leaves. A little bit darker for the smaller flowers throughout the flower box as well. Then for my flower box itself, I am going to use some browns, just something neutral. I thought about doing something black and ultimately decided I didn't think that that was going to work, and I'm going to go with some browns instead. But first we've got to get everything in the flower box colored, and then I'll kind of go back. I wanted it to look like a wooden flower box, so that's kind of my goal here. And I want the focus to be what's in the flower box, as well as the butterflies and then kind of, you know, the window and all of that. So I want to keep kind of the flower box itself a little more neutral, I suppose. The center of my flowers are going to be a lot of those same yellows that I've used for the lemons. And just deepening and darkening that up with the darker colors like Y28 or 26. Couple more leaves. We're just gonna go in here and add in our darker veining. Just kind of feathering all of that out. So pretty. E84 and E87 are used for the flower box. This is a color combination that I don't really want to say new to me, but it is newer in like the last probably 6 months or so that I have used for lots of different things that I didn't use a ton in the past. I've really been trying to branch out a bit with my Copic markers. I tend to stick with the same old reliable ones, but there's a lot of beautiful colors that I haven't used a ton of, and this is one color combination that I really like. It's almost an olivey undertone of a nice neutral brown, and so I really liked it here. And there's my flower box. I do want to have some texture to it, so I'm going to add some little lines, and I got a little too aggressive, and I got a few lines in like a lemon and a leaf, so I'm going to go back with my green and my yellow and try to fix those little mistakes. Then we're going to move on to our butterflies. Just a nice base color of YR30, and then I'm doing some deeper and darker colors in some of the spots on this butterfly with my darker yellows. Brighter yellows from the center, and I'm going to build the color. I wasn't exactly sure the direction I wanted to go here. I ended up really loving this butterfly. I thought I wasn't going to. It's kind of the same thing as my lemons. For whatever reason, I love yellow, but I find yellow a little bit of a challenge to color with. But ultimately, kind of adding in some of those brownish yellow undertones or overtones, whatever, to my butterfly, as well as the lemon, really made me love it. It's still very yellow, and it looks amazing in the finished card. Some warm grays for the body of both butterflies here. That's going to be our warm gray 6 and 8. And then obviously back to our teals for the other butterfly. This was a little easier to color because I'm a little more comfortable with these colors. Yellows just tend to be a challenge. I don't know what it is. But I really do like how bright and happy these are, and then paired on the black and white buffalo check backgrounds. Oh, love them. They really pop. This is a super fun stamp set, the You Shine stamp set. Nice big images. If you like coloring a little bit bigger size images, this is a fantastic stamp set. I like that there's a little bit a variety in the stamp set as far as, you know, lemons. There's several other lemons too. Lots of butterflies, and then the window box, and then I think there's an individual flower leaf and lots of fun sentiments. Once I have all these colored in, I'm taking a white pen and adding a little detail to my butterfly wings, and I'm going to die cut these before moving on to my pattern paper. So I've got the buffalo check 6x8 paper that I am trimming to 4x5 1/4 to make both of my backgrounds. This is going to be slightly smaller than A2 sized, and it's going to go on our background perfectly. Here's my white top fold card base. You can see it'll have a nice little white border all the way around that I think ties in nicely with the outline on our stamped and die cut images. For my first background, I've got this arched window here. I love these Tim Holtz Idea-ology window frames. Nice, so amazing. I'm going to place this on another piece of pattern paper from the kit, and I'm going to trace around it with a pencil so I can cut this out and use it as a backer for my arched window frame. When I tilt it at an angle, you can see it. I can see it in person a little bit easier than I think it shows on camera, but you could also do it on the back side of the paper if that's a little easier to see. And I simply want to make sure that it just fits right back behind my frame. So I might have to do a little adjusting. I'll place a little glue on the back of the baseboard window frame and pop it right over my pattern paper background, or what I actually found was a little easier was to flip it over and place my pattern paper to the back of it. I'm just kind of making sure there's nothing funny that's going to be sticking out. And here is our frame for the front of our card. I'm going to use a bone folder to make sure that my crease on my card is nice and secure. I'm not going to adhere anything yet, and there is a very good reason why, because we are going to be using the Distress Foundry wax to do splatter that looks like gilded splatter all over the backgrounds, which is so fun. Oh my goodness, you guys, I absolutely love this product. And I love that you get some of the Foundry wax included in the kit. So I'm going to put my entire frame in my MISTI with my sentiment. It was not lined up, so sorry about my head in the way. But I want to line up when life gives you lemons. I love how you make lemonade. I think that's such a fun sentiment. I'm going to get that lined up. This is from the You Shine stamp set included in the kit. I'm stamping it with embossing and watermark ink from Hero Arts. I did stamp it a couple times since I've never used this one before. I'm going to sprinkle on white embossing powder. I could have done this as well before I attached the frame, but I forgot. And because of that, a little bit of the embossing powder sticks to the frame. So as I tap that off, I'm going to take a paintbrush and wipe away anything that's sticking to the frame. I don't want that. I don't want white embossing powder speckles. And then I will heat emboss my sentiment, and it's going to be this beautiful bright white against that black with little teeny tiny white pin dot background. I don't stamp on pattern paper a ton unless it's going to show, with sentiments I should say, unless it's going to show up really well. So I was really particular with the pattern paper I used here. I'm going to heat both the front and the back of my pattern paper. And there is our sentiment. I absolutely love it. It's easy to read, nice bold white. I am going to buff away any of the excess powder from my pattern paper. I used the Rabbit Hole Designs powder tool there. And then I want to lay out my images, and I'm just going to snip them straight so that when I adhere them, they lay nice. Because I've already glued the baseboard frame, window frame to my pattern paper, it's a little hard to tuck them underneath the edge. I also want to have them pop up a little bit with foam adhesive, so this works just fine. I'm going to grab some foam adhesive then and secure both of these along the bottom edge of the frame. We're going to start with the half lemon, and then that gives me a guide for where to put my foam adhesive on the second image. We don't want to put it under anything that overlaps the first image or it'll be kind of funny. And then we will secure the other one. You'll notice that the leaves from both kind of lay outside of the frame a little bit, which I really like. I am going to secure then the frame to the buffalo check pattern paper, but not the entire panel to my card base. Once we have this secured, I do want to splatter some of the gilded Foundry wax over the entire image. Now, Foundry wax dries really quickly. I had a hard time lining this up too. So kind of ignore all of my special issues here with the getting this lined up. I eventually get it, you guys, but it was a little wonky. I had to pull that off. I had to put it back. I was able to get it off, which was amazing. I was really careful. It happens. Sometimes things just don't go as easy as you think they're going to. Sorry, again, my head is in the way. But I always like to be honest about things that don't go as planned. So I have this plastic box. I use it for splatter because it's easy to clean. You want to shake your Foundry wax until you hear the ball inside rattle around. It does dry super fast, so I'm working quickly. I put a little bit in my box, and I am simply going to take a small paintbrush and splatter this all over my card. Some of the splatters are super hard to see until the magic of heating up this Foundry wax with a heat tool. It doesn't take much heat, but that is what's going to give us the gilded splatter all over our image. This is also why I didn't place this on my white card base before splattering. I don't want the splatter on the white at all. I just want it on my pattern paper and stamped images. Then I'm going to grab my heat tool, and as I heat up the splatters, because I think they're really hard to see right now, as I heat those splatters up, you're going to see the gilding. Unfortunately, it's blurred a little bit. I'm probably too close to the camera. Maybe with the second card, you'll see it a little bit better. There, as I pull it away, you really start to see the gilding splatters a bit. And I am sorry that that is blurry. Oh my goodness, I love, love, love this product. This is just one way that you can use the Foundry wax. Now that I have that heat set, I am going to put adhesive on my card front and pop this down in place. The final thing I will do for this card is add a little yellow heart underneath the word lemonade. I probably do that in a little bit. I don't think I get my embellishments out until I'm finished with my second card. Let's put together the second background. Even though both of these cards feature a lot of the same elements, they're completely different cards, different sentiments. So one is more of an encouragement type of card, and then I turned the other one into a birthday card. I like that you get so many different sentiments in the You Shine stamp set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm using the black and white buffalo check as the background, and I am going to trace the window frame on the pattern paper I'm choosing to use back behind it. And I really loved this kind of floral, viney black background with the butterflies all over it. I'm going to position it in one corner and just trace around two of the sides. You could use your paper trimmer to cut that if you want to. I just grabbed my scissors because they were out from my previous card. And I may have to do a little quick adjustment up where the top of the window frame curves a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of cut those at an angle. We're going to put glue all over the back of our frame again. I'm using the Barely glue. You could probably use a tape runner as well. And then I'm going to put the pattern paper on the back. I notice I need to shift that up just a little bit before the glue sets so that it's right back behind the frame. And look at that. Isn't that so pretty? I'm going to pop my window box along the bottom edge, which to me just kind of completes this cute design. I'm going to put foam adhesive just above the Tim Holtz Idea-ology window frame baseboard because it is pretty thick. And I'm going to then add liquid glue at the bottom and then just pop my window box in place. We're going to put foam adhesive under portions of our butterflies and have them kind of flying around out here. I just don't want the foam adhesive to be on top of a baseboard anywhere, so liquid adhesive under the body of the butterfly that's laying on the window frame. And then we'll do the same thing for the teal butterfly. I have my happy birthday stamp as a placeholder for the moment. We will stamp that here in a little bit. Once I have my butterflies in place, I am ready to stamp my sentiments as well as add the Foundry wax. So I think what we'll do first, I don't really want the sentiments, pardon me, to have the Foundry wax on them. So let's attach our window to the buffalo check background. We're going to place our background in the clear box again, grab some Foundry wax and splatter our background. I got a little more aggressive with this background. Wasn't super intentional, but it happened. It's fine. I'm going to tap the Foundry wax all over. Again, you can see that when it goes on wet, it's pretty subtle. You don't see it, and it is wet. So you do want to heat it so that it is dry, and that is what creates those like little gilded splatters all over the background. So I will heat set this, and then we will stamp and die cut our sentiments to finish off our card. I'm going to take my heat tool, and I think here you can see the heating up of the Foundry wax and how it turns into those gilded splatters. And everywhere the heat tool touches, even places you didn't notice that the Foundry wax was, some littler splatters and things, which is actually my favorite, you can see those little gilded flakes, which I just think is so pretty. I'm going to add my little yellow heart now to my lemons card. Always have to have a heart somewhere. Both cards have a little heart. We can attach our second background to our top fold card base. Again, the white just really grounds the whole image. It is pretty busy, and so I like that little white border all the way around. I am stamping Happy Birthday from the You Shine stamp set, and then from the Tiny Words Birthday, I believe. The exact stamp set is listed below from Simon Says Stamp. I am going to grab a smaller phrase. I felt like it just needed a little something else, a little more similar to the first card where it had a combination of smaller text and bigger text. So I stamped Enjoy Your Day. I'm going to stamp both of these with VersaFine ONYX black ink on some of that scrap of white cardstock included in the kit. VersaFine ONYX black is my favorite black ink to use when I want a crisp stamped black sentiment or image. Then I'm going to use Sentiment Labels dies to die cut both of these into sentiment strips. We're going to attach these right over the window. I will put a little foam adhesive under portions of the larger sentiment strip so that it's a little more secure. Let's move my Misty out of the way. So I'm going to put little foam adhesive squares right here. We'll pop that in place and then put Enjoy Your Day right underneath. And I am only going to attach the Enjoy Your Day with a little liquid adhesive. You could cut some smaller foam adhesive to put underneath the ends, but I didn't really feel like it needed it. And that finishes off our card beautifully. I did add a little black heart underneath because we always need a heart accent. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these two cards featuring the Simon Says Stamp July 2022 card kit called You Shine. The supplies I used to create these cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. Here is another video featuring Simon Says Stamp products that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate you all so very much, and we will see you next time.